Yo, what's going on, people? This is your boy Theo back with another episode of Shakedown. This is episode 39, and today we got something a little bit different coming your way because here is my brother.
Hello.
This is my brother Troy, and basically over the next few minutes or so, we're going to be talking about things like what he does for a living, what he's been doing up till now, and so on and so forth. You get the drift. But it's not just about me ranting and raving about something. It's going to be about him. So, Troy, so as you're like a real business person, like what got you the knack to do entrepreneurship?
I think it firstly came from our dad.
Yeah.
Taking us to the shop. He had a white goods shop whilst we were growing up. And then spending most of our summers as teenagers going to the shop and watching him run his own business for so many years.
Yeah.
It played a real significant part to our lives in that way. So very key for me. I used that to then start a small business. My first business was a drinks company. Well, I say drinks company. I used to sell Ribenas at school to a lot of my friends. So I used that to then start thinking about other ways I can earn money for myself, and just continuing in that fashion, really.
Okay. So what kind of like what was next for you when you got to that point? What was happening?
I think what was key for me was taking what I'd learnt from my dad, what I'd learnt at school, and just keep applying it in different ways. So went off to college. Firstly, I went to grammar school for my sixth form. Dropped out for reasons other than the fact that it was very difficult. A levels to what I'd been taught previously was a big transition. I did a BTEC in business at school. And A levels was just a new world for me. So I decided I still wanted to pursue an education. So I went to what's it called now? Birmingham Metropolitan. It's called now.
Yeah.
But at the time it was called Matthew Bolton.
Matthew Bolton, yeah.
And I did a BTEC in business again at college level, which allowed me to do a number of things outside of my academic life, which is was working, and I was hosting events.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of events.
Yeah.
And then went off to uni.
What kind of events was it? What you were doing?
Type of events were 18 plus. Fun fact, I wasn't 18 at the time when I was doing them. Still a baby, still 17. So hashtag all the event organizers and promoters, there's no limit to what you can do as long as you come across in the right way.
Yeah.
So it was an 18 plus event. I used to have some of the major acts. Our first event was in Digbeth. We had some of the major acts in Birmingham.
Like who?
Well, it's a long time ago, but people like Triller were there. Some of the big DJs that were getting plays on BBC One Extra were there. That event was a relative success, but it wasn't a success enough for us to rest on our laurels. So we went and continued to innovate, tried different ideas. Some worked, some didn't. Ultimately, it was just It's just at the time, looking back on it, Facebook was relatively new in terms of ads and how to use it. The platform was very, very new. I wish I took more advantage of that because, of course, look where Facebook is today.
15 years later.
You know, it's blown up. We're still doing, you know, leaflets and flyers outside of clubs when people finish the night, which was ridiculous. Now thinking about it, the last thing you want to do is be handed a leaflet after you'd finished the club. You're drunk, you want to go home, you want to find the nearest place to eat. Typically you'd get one and you'd throw it away within 20 feet of where I've just handed it to you. So it was a waste of money. But it taught me a lot of good lessons in terms of networking, how to pitch events, how to make your event unique, things like that really. Then I was working with a group of people on those specific type of events, so these 18 plus events. Then I moved and started to do events in Coventry for 16 plus.
That was tough. Because I remember you would leave out for early and you would take the bus to get down there. Take 2 buses to actually get down there, all the way down there.
Well, I was doing a lot of things to get down there.
Yeah.
I was skipping classes at college. Sometimes
we're not advocating, by the way, to not skip school or classes or anything else like that. We're not advocating that. No. Carry on.
No, yeah, that was a big. In all fairness, I thought I could balance it because the nature of the BTEC was 100% coursework, so you could do it in your own time.
Yep.
Essentially, it meant that if I'd produced my coursework within a certain amount of time, I'd had all this free time until the next course started in order to do my own thing.
Okay.
So I was going down to Coventry, I was going down to sixth forms and schools, in the week, trying to capture the market. It was a grind, leaving out, trying to get the train, it was a lot of work. I was working. My first job at that time was at McDonald's, so I was trying to balance that as well. So all the money I'd earned from McDonald's, and I wasn't earning a lot at all.
He was only doing a few shifts, as I remember.
It was only a few shifts.
Yeah.
I'd pretty much have to beg for more if I wanted them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'd use all that money to pump into these businesses, which you never know would do well or not. But it taught me a good set of skills, which I used later in life. So all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the events businesses had some real big challenges with some. So one of them, from memory, I booked Skepta. Skepta was meant to come down, and I think it was like 3 weeks before the event, printed the flyers, everyone got excited. For some reason, which escapes me now, the event got cancelled. I think it was down to on Skepta's part. I think he had a couple of dates clash over. So it left us in a bit of a bad way with where to go next with that event. My most successful event in Coventry was a traffic light party. So the concept is you wear colours that indicate how available you are. This is the first signs of Tinder, if anything. It was, am I single? Green, wear green. If I'm not, wear red. If I'm open to talking, wear amber. So it was a lot like that, to be honest. It was pretty it wasn't unique, but it was definitely of interest to the audience. So it was all right. So yeah, it was a lot of hard work, a lot of hard graft in those days. But yeah, all worth it, all good experience, good skills.
So all this stuff, right, that you applied to, because you actually went to China as well. So so in terms of business, what did you learn from going to China?
China. So I went to China at the end of my first year of university as part of a charity that would send UK nationals out to China to teach. So during the first sort of summer break of 4 months I had outside of uni, I went out there. So I went out there with the expectation to teach, and you know, the teaching conditions weren't great, but I made it work.
So what was bad about it?
It was just a tough environment in terms of the way that China's set up is still an emerging economy at that time. I'd say it's pretty much moving in the right direction now, but at the time they'd seen no foreigners, never mind a foreigner of colour.
Because you're the only black man that was actually out there.
Yeah, I was the only man outside of China that was in my town. You know, I was pretty well known.
Yeah, it was easy to stand out.
So it was interesting in terms of how to adapt to a different culture. I think from my point of view, it was more to do with you know, you don't really know who you are until you put in certain positions.
Yeah.
And I was put in a position where I wanted to come home pretty badly. I felt like I'd been let down. I'd been sold something that wasn't really true. And it was very difficult. I was challenged with homesickness, all sorts. So, but in that moment, you just realize who you are, and all the things I'd learned from the setbacks I had with the events, etc., or other challenges. It all served its purpose, and I eventually just continued, stayed out there, did my 3 months while I was there. Gave me an opportunity to see a different world, you know, a different way of living. And these people there's some good people out there, I'd have to say. So anyone who hasn't been to China, don't dismiss it. You know, it's easy to, you know, there's a lot of stories about, oh yeah, they eat this or they do this. Listen, yeah, fair enough. It's just a different culture. And of course, when you look at our culture, you could say we do certain things that aren't common to certain other people. So yeah.
So you went to China. You've done all these events. There's successful, not successful. You learned so much from all of those things. So what is it you're doing now? What's next for Troy, and is it business? Yeah, have you got something in the pipeline that you're gonna do, or?
Yeah, I got some interesting stuff I'm doing. It's the fact that I'm working at the moment has slowed down the process, but basically I'm working on an online business which allows me to sell on Amazon. Amazon offer the opportunity to people to set up their own small business using their platform. So if you take a company like eBay and pretty much 10x their ability to offer customer service, offer the ability to upsell, It's a recognized brand which everyone buys from. You know, I think there's loads of opportunity in that space, which I've been researching. I've been planning. So Chinese New Year is about to finish next week, and the view is that samples for the initial products that I'll be launching will come at the end of the month, with the view that I should place a full order and start to get that out into the market, hopefully mid March to end of March.
Okay. Do you have a website that, like, you know, people can get you at, or?
The brand is called Belletto, BELLETTO. The website will be up very shortly, but please find me on Instagram with that. It'll be an interesting little concept, so I'd love to get some feedback on that as well. But yeah, watch this space.
Okay. So as you're like, because there's not many black individuals, even people our age that's sort of into business, not many that like be interested in business. What would you say to those people that's trying to kind of make it in there? What would you say to them?
I'd say know what you want to do, first of all. I'll take even a step further backwards. I'd say know what type of character you have. If, for instance, you're the type who likes to get out and meet people, there's certain types of businesses you can start. If you're not so people orientated, then you can even look online, etc. But there's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration mentally with entrepreneurship rather than financially, and it's also to do with mindset. It's not going to come easy. Don't expect anyone to, you know, do any favors for you. I'd certainly say just think about what you want and what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're willing to do to achieve what you want to do. It's not going to be as straightforward as for everyone, but of course keep, you know, let the fears go, because there's parts of us that say, okay, there's certain things that I've done in my life that haven't worked out for one reason or another. Does that mean that I should give up? No. You know, what kind of life is that, you know? So I'd always say take feedback, ask for honest feedback. I think it's too easy for people to give very indirect, very soft feedback to people. If something isn't quite working or quite right, I think if the people around you love you enough, they should be honest with you. They should be able to tell you that product is whack, you know, or that service isn't going to work, or your branding's wrong, or something that will make you think, and you should be able to take that information on. You know, don't be ignorant to it. A lot of people are too ignorant. As an entrepreneur, you have to bear in mind you're serving people, you're serving them, you know, with the product, with the service, you're in service to those people. So if you're asking people for feedback, or you're trying to validate an idea or an opportunity, you have to be willing to be told that's not good enough. So I'd say ask for honest feedback, do your research, find out what you really want, find out your personality, and there's loads of opportunities out there, loads.
Like, because, like, you know what, with my brother, the thing is with him is that he is all business. I get surprised with what he does personally when he gets to go and do certain things, because I don't know how he manages to. He works harder than I do, so so like business aside, what do you do to kind of relax? What do you do to kind of, like take yourself out of that whole business mindset?
So a lot of it is spending time with my partner. A lot of it is you do need to find a balance. There is a need for a balance, and it's all to do with health. Without health, nothing can be achieved. Nothing. No. So I go to the gym a lot. I listen to things that will help my mental state a lot.
What do you listen to?
Most recently, I've been listening to a gentleman called David Goggins.
Okay.
He's not for everyone, but he's the type of person who's pushed himself to the absolute limit to get somewhere in his life. He's not started from a silver spoon in his mouth. He ran like 205 miles in like 39 hours non-stop.
Wow.
Stuff like that. So he's got a different mentality towards everything. So he's a very interesting person to learn from. I'd say a lot of the time you have to be aware of your feelings. You have to be really tapped into how you feel. If you are tired, why? If you are snappy with people, why? If you're not coming up with good ideas, why? You need a balance. Like, as I say, cultural perspective helps. So if you go out to different parts of the world, that only can aid your well-being, but also your ideas, your perspective on things. So things like that help.
It does help.
Really,
it does help. It does help. I mean, like we've lived in Jamaica with our grandparents, so that opened our eyes up into the way that that the world, not just more or less the world, but another different kind of country and a different kind of process, how it all works, than to being in the UK. So I kind of relate to you on that. But so you listen to this guy David Goggins, and you're with your partner. You've been with her for a long time, and you go to the gym. Obviously, you do travel a little bit. So, like personally, what do you want to achieve now that you're at that age now? What do you want to achieve?
What I want to achieve now is more to do with a sustainable future. So what I do currently is I work in recruitment. I work 60 hours a week.
60?
About 50, 60 hours a week I work. It's I've been doing that for 3.5, coming on 4 years now. So it's been consistent in terms of how relentless it is. Again, lessons that I've learned about myself is that consistency is important with anything you do, and being able to take knockbacks. But that aside, I think what I'm trying to achieve now is how to move this idea I've got, fledgling idea, into more sustainable business. Of course, I've got the one product coming out in the next months or so. How do I make that into 10, 20 products? How do I get my own e-commerce store to get off of Amazon? How do I then move into consulting, for instance, or marketing? All these things that I need to start considering are in my line of sight. I need to just think how I'm gonna move into other streams of income. I've got a few at the moment, but it could be more sustainable to give me more flexibility to do other things. So that's the idea.
Okay, that's all good as well. Like my brother, like I'm always proud of my brother. You know, he's been doing some crazy things. This is only a taste of what you've hear here. To be honest, he works incredibly hard, as you probably can tell. So I want to thank him for coming onto the show. If you want to get a hold of him, you can reach him on Instagram. He is at Troy Samuels. That's at Troy Samuels. It's just been a good thing for him to kind of hear, because, you know, he and I are incredibly different. And you would actually think that he's older than me, but no, I'm older than him. There's been a lot of differences in our lives the last few years or so, but one thing that we always maintained is that we're always going to be brothers, and we're always going to find time for each other to spend, you know, just catching up and talking and everything. And it's important that we do that. What I'm trying to say is that family means everything to me as a person. And we do our best to kind of try to just, you know, hook up, we talk, we try and find a way if we can actually help, if we can help, and we just kind of keep it moving. We have to keep it pushing. So I'm incredibly proud of my brother. So yeah, that ends our Shakedown special. This is a little bit different than me usually talking about another topic and everything else. So I'm glad you guys were able to join us and hear what my brother's got to say. We'll be back next time, and I'll probably get him on soon. I'll probably get him on again soon, and we'll probably talk about something a little bit different. But for now, though, stay fresh, stay clean, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out, people.